Summer isn't here yet, of course, because West Ham have got that small matter of trying to lift the Europa Conference League final this week. I'll be honest, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm sure that's all we're already thinking about. But we do need to talk about things that are being reported and things that are coming up. XWHU employees provided a big update, actually, regarding the summer transfer business. Now, there is a disclaimer of all of this because there's so much uncertainty surrounding West Ham at the moment. We don't really know the future of a manager. We don't know whether we're going to be in Europe yet. We don't know. There's so much director of football. There's a lot of question marks hanging over West Ham at the moment because all focus is on the final. Let's be honest. That is where the club are, and rightly so. I don't really think we should be being distracted with other things that are going on elsewhere. However, one thing that is interesting, though, that X has reported is the situation at Chelsea. So as we know, Chelsea, new manager coming in, Pochettino is going to be taking over from the summer. And he is already making changes in West London quite significantly, as you'd expect, because they've had a shocking season. And I mean, I've got to be honest, we'll do a preview of the season coming up, but I still think there's a lot more trouble to come from Chelsea. It's my gut feeling, but we'll talk about that another day. But what they are doing is that Pochettino has made it very clear that he wants to basically have a bit of a clear out of players. He wants to bring his own players in, which again, understandable, is what you'd expect. There is a couple of players that X has mentioned that West Ham are going to be keeping a very close eye on, and we're going to be going for if they do become available. Should our scenario be the way we want it to be, i.e., we can offer Europa League and all this kind of stuff. The two players that X has mentioned quite clearly are Conor Gallagher and Hudson Odoi. Now, is it Callum Hudson-Odoi? Yeah. So basically, I was looking at these players. Now we know a lot about them. Let's be honest, we do know a fair bit about them. Start with Hudson-Odoi. So he's been on loan last season actually by Leverkusen. Hasn't had the best time there. I'll be honest. You look at his record; it isn't great. He's made 21 appearances overall. He only scored 1 goal in his time there. But he's an England international. He's only 22, winger, of course. But he's playing okay. I mean, we've seen him play before. He's a decent enough player. He's someone we've got our eye on. But Conor Gallagher's the big one for me, a player that I've admired for a long time. Obviously, we know how well he did when he was on loan at Crystal Palace. That's how how really he made his name. Realistically, that's how got a lot of attention on him. I know Palace tried to sign him, not been able to. He's a player you look at and think you need to move on. You need to go to a club where you're going to be the number one guy playing regularly, and there's so much upheaval at Chelsea. I think it would do him good. And West Ham, of course, can offer him not only Premier League football, hopefully European football, but on top of that, we can live in London still. He hasn't got to move. You stay where you are. So I think it'd be attractive for him. He's a key performer though last season for Chelsea. He played 45 appearances overall, 3 goals he scored in that time as well. He's a good player. He's only 23 and obviously England international. That is the sort of player I want to see linked with West Ham. I think that'd be very, very interesting. I'd like to know your thoughts on this. What you think when you look at the Chelsea squad and players that come available, and also what your thoughts are on Hudson-Odoi. Question marks on him for me. I'm not sure, but Conor Gallagher, he's a player I'd like to see, considering that we're going to have a midfield of a lot of change this summer. Rice being the main thing, but also you've got Souček, your long-term future. Paqueta's obviously we want to build the team around now. Conor Gallagher, where does he fit into that? Well, I'd like to know your thoughts on that one. It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, another key factor in all of this with Chelsea is our relationship with them. I'm not talking about in terms of the fans. I'm talking about between the clubs. We've got actually a pretty solid relationship with Chelsea over the years. Obviously, Kurt Zuma and others. We've actually worked together quite a lot. Now that is a team, and I know that we did try and sign Broja, and that didn't materialise. So there's obviously that they do play hardball, but I just get the feeling that this could be a player that West Ham could be going for. I really do. I think there's some there is truth into this. XWH employees have made it very clear that these are the players that West Ham are keeping a very, very close eye on and could well make a move. And it looks like they are being released. Another obviously update we want to bring as well is the striker situation at West Ham is Gianluca Scamacca. We don't really know what this future is with him. It doesn't look great. I mean, that's my eyes. We talked about this in a previous video. I don't think it's great. Now, what we did talk about in the previous video was the fact that we were going to be doing a swap over with Tammy Abraham. Obviously, he's been at Roma now for a couple of years, doing very, very well out there. I'll be honest, someone I was quite keen on, actually. I thought that this would be a good striker for West Ham. There's a few people who come back and debated me on that and said, well, actually, he might be a bit more like a Scamacca, actually. You're not getting the player we need. Possibly so, I'm not sure. But That actually looks like it's going out the window now. It looks like it will be going out the window because it looks like he's injured his cruciate and going to be out for the rest of this year. So that's a big blow for him. But it's also, what does it do for West Ham now? Because that effectively takes Roma out of the equation in effect, because that's what I think they were looking to do, well, that was the angle that we were going to go down, as a swap. So that's really interesting. It throws our striker situation into doubt of what we're going to do. Juventus have come forward, I believe. I'm going to be looking to make a bid for Scamacca, so that will be in money. That might suit West Ham better anyway. Go and reinvest it in another striker, or of course we keep Scamacca. A lot of people have commented on this and said that I've got an agenda against him. I really don't. I don't have an agenda. I actually think he's a really, really good player. I just think that he doesn't suit our system. That's all. I just think it's not his fault at all. There are other players that I could look at. I mean, Danny Ings is prime example. Another one that we've brought in just doesn't suit the system. It's not his fault. So I'd have no problem with keeping Scamacca on at West Ham, but I do get the feeling that, you know, his body language and things that he's doing don't scream that he's very happy at the club, and I think he'd like to move on. So that's my gut feeling on that. But yeah, obviously this is more about the Chelsea players. It's just more of an update what we got from X. My attention is fully on the final. I mean, seriously, we're doing these videos at the moment. We've got some news bits coming through, but ultimately, that it's so difficult to really start thinking about the summer ahead, because you just got this monumental moment of our club's history on the, you know, around the corner, that you just think everything's riding on that, everything, and even our summer business and our next seasons and everything else. It's a big one, but yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts on Conor Gallagher. And of course, now then, with the striker situation, what we're going to do, who we're going to go with, let me know your thoughts.